Okay. And let's see here. Pull that back up. All right. Thank you for being here. My name is Brittany Cano, and I'll be leading you in this Making Exercise a Lifestyle as a busy nurse. And if feel free at any time tonight to unmute yourself and join in. I love participation, and let's us connect on the subject of wellness as well as fellow nurses. It's always great to be with nurses. I feel like regardless of what your specialty is, we have common ground and we get each other at least on some level. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my background and how I was not always a avid exerciser. I did grow up, doing dance, cheerleading, playing sports, but I learned at an early age that I could just make excuses and not have to go to practice. I could make excuses and I would be able to quit if I really didn't like the sport or whatever it was. And so that habit really followed me into my teenage years and into my 20s, where I would exercise for a little while and then I would stop. And as a result of not really having a solid, healthy lifestyle, even in my 20s, I suffered from like really bad gastritis. I'd get hurt at work. If I was pulling a patient up in bed, sometimes I'd end up like with neck pain or back pain, just really feeling the effects. And it had been a time where I hadn't really worked out for probably about 2 months, and I came to doing this Groupon boot camp. And has anybody ever been to a boot camp class? It's not quite the kind of class you want to just jump right into if you haven't worked out for 2 months, but I did, and I found myself really injured. I went the next day and I remember telling the lady like, hey, I can't really straighten my arms out. My arms are like swollen and I'm in a lot of pain, but it didn't really matter. She was like, no, you're good. Just do it again. I just want to make sure here that everybody can hear me okay. Yeah, good Lord, boot camp. Exactly. And later on that night, I had to go to work. I did a morning class. I had to go to work. And I'm telling the nurses I work with, like, my arms are so swollen and they are so tight. Like, I can't really move them. Like, I legit have those chicken arms. And one of the nurses said, you know what? Maybe you have rhabdo. And we all know as nurses what rhabdo is, but it did not cross my mind that, oh, I could have rhabdo from working out too hard. Typically, we see it when a patient's fallen down on the floor and not been found for 24 to 48 hours and been left there. But sure enough, I did. I had rhabdomyolysis and had to be hospitalized for 3 days. And that really was a wake-up call. We come to a point in life where things are a wake-up call. So hopefully it doesn't have to come to that, but sometimes that's what it takes. And from then on out, I really changed my life. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make exercise a lifestyle and why you would even want to. We know all the reasons why as nurses, right? We know we should exercise, but it's not always that simple for various reasons. And I love that exercise. It not only have this saying here, changes your body, it also changes your mind, your attitude, and your mood. And that was really one of the things that kept me sticking with exercise and wanting it to be a lifestyle. So what's your story? What is the story that you have when it comes to exercise? Anybody here, an avid exerciser, feels like, okay, I'm at a 10 with my exercise. I got it under control. Does anybody feel like they've mastered exercising as a lifestyle? Does anybody feel like they have a hard time staying consistent with exercise, or a lot of things get in the way, such as your busy lifestyle? So I want you to take some time to really think about what is the story that you have. We got some people saying they're a 5 out of 10. They're not quite there yet with making it a lifestyle. Our long shifts, right? We work 12-hour shifts a lot of times if we work in the hospital. There's a lot of reasons why we don't exercise consistently. So we all have a story, right? story for everything. And it could seem like a really true story. So I want you to do, if you're not driving right now, to fast forward. I want you to close your eyes if that's an option for you right now. And I want you to just picture yourself 5 years from now. I want you to imagine you run into somebody that you really admire. It could be somebody that you look up to, that you respect a lot. Perhaps you run into them in the grocery store. And they see you and they're like, hey, Tina, how are you doing? How's life? What have you been up to? Are you still working out? Because you guys have done, in the past, you guys did a couple workouts together. And you're still telling that same story. You're still telling the story that, well, I work 12-hour shifts. Oh, I'm too busy. I was too tired, right? Because I'm too busy, I'm too stressed. Like, just imagine that you're still 5 years from now telling this same story, and like how that would feel if you're still telling this same story, how you would feel if this is still the story that you have when it comes to exercise, as well as how you might look, how you might feel in your clothing, how you might feel in relationship with yourself. Because I know something for sure, when we do what we say we're going to do, we strengthen that bond we have with ourselves. We strengthen the respect and our self-confidence. And when we don't do what we say we're going to do, then we start to not really trust ourselves. And also, maybe you have some health issues at this time. Maybe you have more arthritis or high cholesterol or whatever it is. So think about, if you continue with these excuses, what might come up for you. And I know if I would have continued with my excuses around exercise, which really my story was a lot of just telling myself I couldn't be consistent, because I had proven that was my story, that I couldn't stick with something, that I could do it for a little while and then I would just stop doing it. And I was already in my 20s suffering from not having a healthy lifestyle. Like I said, I had gastritis, I was on medication. I had to have an EGD. My mood was all over the place. I would sleep in forever. I was so tired all the time. I know that that's a reason that we may not want to exercise, because we feel tired. But actually, if you've ever gotten into a good exercise groove, you notice you do have more energy, right? The body in motion stays in motion. I was also overweight. And like I said, I'd get injured at work. And then one of my clients here, Jeannie, she's awesome. She was in the same boat. She had high cholesterol. She was busy with her grandkids. She takes care of her grandkids and she works full time. So she had a lot going on her plate. And then, her children, her husband, all of that stuff. So she had a lot going on. And she also felt weak. She was worried about her strength, being able to get up and get down, because she has young grandkids, and just not feeling motivated. So she was able to really stick with exercising as well as healthy eating, right? Because everything is linked together, as we know, right? Mind, body, spirit, emotion. And as a result, now her cholesterol is good. She has normal blood work. She can get up and do all the things with her kids. And it really didn't take that much. So sometimes I feel that we think that it has to take going to a boot camp 5 days a week to get results and to say we're exercising, but it really doesn't have to be all of that. It doesn't have to be something so intense. And sometimes, especially if you have a stressful life, that intense of an exercise program can actually work against you as well. Go down to this next slide here. So let's discover your real truth. What is your real truth when it comes to exercising? Because we do have these stories, and perhaps there is some level of truth to it, that you have a lot of responsibility, that you do work 12-hour shifts. But there's also some false things, or some things that really just are not effective stories when it comes to exercising and creating this as a lifestyle. So reframing your story, I really encourage you, if you're able to get out a pen and paper and journal. There's so much power when we put things into writing. We can fully express our thoughts and also reflect back on it later, which is a powerful tool to do. But what are some things that you currently have energy for? because that can be an excuse that we have that we don't stick with exercising, is that we don't have energy for it. So looking for the evidence that you do have energy for exercising, because you have energy to go to work, you have energy to be with your family, to do things that you love. If you have energy to go out to eat, you could have energy to go for a walk, to start doing like a 10-minute strength training program. And then where are you consistent? Consistency is a big thing that people struggle with when it comes to exercising. So where are you already consistent in your life? And some people, when I first start working with them, they'll tell me, I'm not consistent anywhere. I'm not consistent with anything. But that's actually so not true when you really start to look at your life. I guarantee you brush your teeth, right? You get up, you eat something every day. You probably go to work or you work with your clients. You do your jobs as a nurse, whatever that entails. I know many of you are coaches or entrepreneurs, but you're consistent, you know, in things in your life, and you've formed habits and you have formed other healthy habits. So using that as evidence to empower you that, okay, I've done these other things, I can also do this when it comes to exercise. And as nurses, we're awesome at delegating. So where can you delegate? If you're too busy, if you're too stressed, if you don't have time, there are things that you can delegate. And it might require surrendering control. And being in business, something that, you know, is really big as an entrepreneur is having all of the things that you do within your business, can't think of the word right now, but having it all written out. So you could just hand your business over to somebody else at some point and they could run your business. They could do it. So having your manuals. So if it's delegating, picking up your dry cleaning, how do you want your dry cleaning picked up? Blah, 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 blah. If it's delegating, getting the kids from school, what time, what do they need for a snack afterwards, that kind of thing. And then here's a big one, right? I like to reframe when I do feel like, oh my God, I'm so busy, to I have an abundant schedule. Like even just that shift in mindset, I already feel alleviation when it comes to like the anxiety of having to do a lot of things. Like, oh no, I actually just have an abundant schedule, right? I have a productive life. And also, how can I use my time more efficiently? With 20 minutes, you can get in a very effective workout. So I know that we can find 20 minutes in our day to make an exercise, get exercise in, and identifying what are the energy and time wasters, because we're wasting time somewhere, right? Whether it's social media or sitting around chit-chatting or whatever it is, and knowing triggers that block you. So again, knowing if you're not consistent, like how can you make it so that you are consistent? Perhaps it's you hire a coach. Perhaps it's you put what you're up to out there on social media so you have like social accountability. And then stress is a big thing, right? If we're stressed, exercise can just seem like one more thing, like, oh my God, I have to do, and I'm already so stressed out. So managing our stress, and also knowing that exercise is a great tool, reminding ourselves that it actually is a stress reliever, that it can actually be a way to manage your stress. So now it's time for you to rewrite your story. And we're also going to talk about ways to set yourself up for success. Does anybody want to share, you can share like what it is that you desire for yourself when it comes to exercising or even living a healthy lifestyle? Like, what's your new story? You can also share like what your excuses have been, as well as like what's a story that's going to empower you and lift you up. I lost my little chat box. Where'd it go? All right. Anybody want to share? We can hear you. You there? Awesome. So somebody shared that their old story is that.
I was gonna. You want the English muffin pizza?
Oh, sure. Can you mute yourself? I think somebody's talking to family. So somebody shared here that their old story is that they're too old to be in shape. So that could be another thing that comes up, like I'm too old to do so. And if you look, Nicole posted like a prime example of somebody to just show us that we're never too old. It's a picture of a woman. I think this woman's in her late 70s. She might be 80 by now. And she's like got muscles, she's got guns, and she's so fit and athletic and strong and energized. So, and in her news story, somebody else that my daughter is going to college. It's a perfect time for me to get in shape. Yes, I love that. And Melanie trained to do her first half marathon last year during the start of the pandemic, and it became her magic miles. So really having that positive association when it comes to like creating this lifestyle for yourself, making it enjoyable is so important. So what's your vision? And we kind of like talked on this, kind of like what's your story for your physical fitness? Vision without action is merely a dream, right? We can sit here and we can talk all night long about exercise and making it a lifestyle, but if we don't actually move and do the exercise with a physical activity, it won't ever become a lifestyle. And then action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. So for you, knowing like, what is your vision for physical fitness? For some people, it's like, I want to be energized and strong throughout my day. I want to be able to do my job. I want to be able to keep up with my family members, my grandkids, my kids. For other people, they really want to excel at a sport or kayaking or hiking or whatever it is. So really having that vision of what it is that you want for yourself, right? Having some direction of where you want to go, and knowing that that will, of course, change with time. You're not married to it for life. The visions evolve, but having some idea of what it is that you want, and ways to really just lock in this habit of exercise, especially as a busy nurse, is to focus on the benefits and the perks. When we know why we're doing something and we like connect it with enjoyment, right? If we're just like, I hate exercise, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Like it's really hard to keep that, to make that as a habit, right? Maybe eventually you will if you do it enough, but if you can find the things that you enjoy. So maybe it's like, I have a thing I can send, but it's like, do you like to jump rope or do you like to walk? Do you like to kayak or do you like to swim? Do you like group workouts or do you like by yourself? Like all of these things. So finding whatever it is and just starting with that, right? Not being, if you're just starting back getting into it, doing really just doing what you love, doing what you enjoy, and making it enjoyable. I like to do like podcasts when I'm going for a walk, or link it up with a phone call to a friend. Makes it so much more effective. Pickleball, yes, when you put pickleball, and they want to live a fun, active lifestyle as they age. And we know, right, we're in healthcare, we see our patients, and many of them haven't had exercise as a lifestyle. Some have, and some of them haven't. And we can see what can happen if we don't take care of ourselves. So using that as motivation and really practicing what we preach, and then setting ourselves up for success. This I'm like so huge on, and this really is something that helped me go from Miss Rhabdo boot camp girl who would like lay on the couch and like, oh my God, I should exercise. No, I'm not going to. Yes, I should. No, I'm not. And then never get off the couch. And I've been like just laying there for hours, never got up to exercise. Was like learning to set myself up for success. So really being honest with yourself, knowing yourself, and knowing what's going to have you create this habit. So for some, it's just like having a one-on-one accountability partner. For others, it's hiring a coach. For some, it's like getting that outfit that you really want to wear, or a picture of yourself that you see every day when you get out of bed, or again, managing stress, managing triggers. If you work 12-hour shifts, honestly, and you're just now like getting back into exercising, work out on your days off, and try to get more activity in throughout your day by walking, stretching, that kind of thing when you're at work. But work out those 3 or 4 days that you're off. Utilize your time that you're not at work and make those your days that you exercise. Also, always keep moving towards what's good for you. If you have days where you don't stick with it, then go ahead and get right back to it. And remembering that vision that you have for yourself, remembering that like commitment that you made to yourself, And like we know, right? We just totally know this as nurses, that it's a habit that like reaps so many benefits for our entire life. So just getting back to it, and being compassionate with ourselves is so important. That's something that's so big in mindfulness. I'm a huge practitioner of mindfulness, is being kind and being compassionate with ourselves. And there's also so much freedom in creating that discipline. So reminding ourselves that, yeah, sometimes we might not feel like don't feel like doing it, but when I do this, I feel good afterwards. Like reminding yourself how much better you feel afterwards. Reminding yourself that, okay, I have 10 minutes. What can I do with 10 minutes? Sometimes we may think like, oh, if I can't go to the gym and put in an hour workout, which you can and don't have to do, you can still get a really effective workout in 30 minutes, then I'm not going to do it. But maybe you have 10 minutes. So you do some squats, you do push-ups, some jumping jacks, crunches, planks in the 10 minutes. Like doing something is better than not doing anything. You have 5 minutes early, go for an extra walk. It's been proven that walking after our dinner lowers our insulin levels. So adding in a 15-minute walk after dinner is something that's so easy and can really increase your daily activity as well. Nicole said, for her, it's knowing how she feels when she exercises, and she loves to give that time to herself because it feels so great. And you know, as nurses, we're like automatically such caregivers, and really having this time for ourselves is so important. It's so important, you know, that we take care of ourselves and that we're prioritizing ourselves. And when we do, it's a win-win for everybody as well. So making the most of your exercise. Functional fitness, I'm a huge fan of functional fitness because it's doing moves that we do throughout our day, and it combines strength training and also multiple muscle groups. So it might be like using weights and doing a squat and a curl and an overhead press. If you don't exercise, you're probably like, what am I doing? What am I talking about? We're actually gonna, if you're able to, we're actually gonna stand up and do a couple moves here momentarily, because when is the best time for us to create a lifestyle of exercise? Right now. So we'll start today moving, because why not? And then, like I said, making the most of it. I love to also elevate my mindset with positive podcasts and music when I'm working out. It not only like we get the endorphin boost from exercising, and then we further can get another elevation of endorphins when we're listening to something that stimulates the brain and brings us enjoyment. And it's easy to get in more movement when we like think of, instead of going and sitting for coffee. I don't know. I live in Florida normally, so like right now going for a walk in the afternoon would be like really hot. I know somebody here is in Arizona, so maybe walking during the middle of the day is not the best date, but maybe you go for a walk in the mall, and figure out ways to combine movement and exercise when you want to connect with your friends and family. And then you know I think it's Newton says a body in motion stays in motion. It's so true, but just adding in movement throughout your day. I always tell my clients this, like you could do CrossFit 5 days a week, and CrossFit is a very intense workout program. But if you are sitting on the couch or have a desk job the rest of the time, like that is not enough physical activity to combat the time that you sit, right? It's just, it's not. So making sure that you're getting up every 45 minutes to an hour and moving around. I love having a watch. It like at work, it really motivates me. You know, I'm working in an ICU right now as a traveler, and our unit's not all that big. It's about 18 beds. So sometimes I don't get a ton of steps because I'm in a kind of small space, but it inspires me to get up and move around. So again, knowing yourself and knowing what it is, it's going to get you moving more. And of course, adding in walks, adding in stretching, that kind of thing. So if you're with me and you're up for it, I would love for you to join me right now. We're going to do about just a few minutes of movement. Of course, if you're driving, I know that's not going to be an option, but if you are able to, we're going to go ahead and come up onto our feet tonight. Let me move my chair. All right. Everybody, can you see me okay? All right, so we're going to start with some grounding techniques. This is also a great tool to use anytime you're feeling stressed, right? Because a lot of times when we're stressed, we're feeling our energy maybe in our belly up to here, right? So bring the awareness to our feet, grounding our feet into the ground. And right now, if you're not driving, you can even close your eyes and really feel through your feet here. Feel through all 10 toes, through the soles of the feet. Standing up nice and tall, really stacking the spine, thinking about just tucking that pelvis under a little bit, and then stacking the vertebrae, opening up the chest, keeping that chin neutral. We're going to bring awareness to our breath. Noticing how the breath goes in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll do a few breaths like that. Also letting your belly rise, taking some really expansive breaths. I like to do this grounding technique, especially at work when there's a lot of demands in all directions. I don't typically close my eyes, but I will ground my feet into the ground, affirming that, okay, I'm here in this moment, bringing awareness to my feet and bringing awareness to your breath. You can even just put your hand on your chest or even on your belly, just to really center yourself. We're going to go ahead and start with some shoulder rolls. I know for some, it's like 7 o'clock at night. For some of you, it is about 3:30, 4 o'clock. So it might be that afternoon slump. So doing some shoulder rolls here. And then we're going to go ahead and stretch those arms out up overhead, reaching up nice and tall and floating those arms down. We're going to do that 2 more times. Reaching up, bringing some blood flow into the body. And some movement, and one more time, stretching up. Of course, if your shoulders don't allow this, you can just push those arms forward and let them come down. Then we're gonna go back and forth, creating some movement in the spine, movement in the legs, coming up on the toes. Any type of exercise, you do want to make sure you warm up, right? You don't wanna go straight to your weights because that's a good chance of you having injuries. So you wanna get your blood flowing, you wanna get the synovial fluid going through all the joints. All right, then we're going to go ahead and come back to center. And we're going to do some calf raises, bringing the arms forward and back. I know you can't see my heels right now, but I'm coming up on my toes. If you need balance, you can just hold onto a chair or hold onto the wall. We're warming up the chest, we're warming up the back. A lot of times when I exercise too, I like to think about positive affirmation. So like I'm pulling all the good energy into me, I'm letting go of all the energy that doesn't serve me anymore. All right. You're bringing all the good stuff to you. You're letting go of all the junk. We'll do 2 more of those. All right. Now we're going to march it out. So we're just going to march in place, getting the blood flowing. And you might already notice, if you are moving with me, that like, oh, okay, I feel a little bit more energized. I know personally, I feel more energized than when I was sitting at the computer, even though I was really excited to be there with you. So we'll march it out for about 10 more seconds. Again, remember to breathe, nice full breaths. So many benefits, we already know of the breath. And then we're going to come into some squats. These you can do in the bathroom at work too, if you're still working or do them throughout your day. So really feeling through the heels, grounding through the feet, keeping the chest up. We're going to sit back like we're sitting in a chair and stand it back up. And this one you can do with weights as well, but I always like to do them without weights as a warm-up. So getting that blood flowing, we're gonna do 4 more. Ooh, you hear me? I'm popping. If your joints pop, that's okay. You're getting that range of motion going. We're gonna do 2 more of those. 2, and 1. All right, and shake it out. And we'll come on back to a seated position, or you can stay standing. So even little movement like that can really just prove for a mood booster. As well as have benefits, especially when we're in the beginning phases of building this habit, right? Just remember, like, something is better than nothing. Like, I can do a little bit. What can I do with this 5 minutes? What can I do with this 10 minutes? And remembering all of those questions that we went to, that we had here, like, what can I delegate? Where am I wasting time? Really important that we can schedule, right? Put it on our calendar, right? If it's not on the calendar, it's probably not going to happen. So scheduling it and like locking it in, like making it a non-negotiable. because sometimes we'll cancel on ourselves where we wouldn't cancel with others. And if that's your case, then perhaps you do schedule your workouts with a friend, or sign up with a trainer or coach, that kind of thing. So I'm done with my presentation here. How do we keep in touch? This is my email address. I also host wellness retreats, so I have one coming up in Costa Rica. So if anybody has any questions about that, please reach out. And then if you'd like to join, I have a holistic wellness session. I'd like to invite you as a guest on this Thursday. This is Thursday at 6 p.m. And we'll do more exercise than we just did right now. We'll also have some mindset elevation that we'll start off with. We'll do a full body workout, and then we end it with relaxation and meditation. And then if you'd like to talk more about how you can really lock in this habit of exercise, then we can set up a discovery call. So you would just text me your email and everything. So now I'm going to stop screen sharing here in a moment. And I'd like to open it up for questions. So if you have any questions when it comes to, like I said, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a health coach and a life coach. And so if there's anything that I can answer in the realm of wellness, I would love to. I know that we have a lot of coaches here as well. So anybody wants to open it up for sharing, there we go. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything?
I would love to hear more about your wellness retreats.
Yeah, so this is the third one at this location in Costa Rica, and it's a week of really taking care of yourself. It's at a school of yoga, so there is daily yoga available, but you don't need to be a yogi. I have people that come who've never, ever, literally ever done yoga, and then people that do have a solid yoga practice. But it really is it's a mind, body, spirit retreat, if you would. This one I'm hosting with a friend who's a licensed mental health therapist. So a big component on this one will be mental health, taking care of yourself, as well as we'll have some transformative workshops. And then it's an adventure wellness retreat. So there's lots of fun in it as well. So there's excursions available, going to like the parks in the area, surfing, sweat lodge, spa services, that kind of thing, which those are all optional. So it really depends. Some people are super adventurous and want to do all the things. And some people are like, yeah, on the downtime, I want to lay by the pool or ride the bike to the beach. So there's a lot to receive from coming on the retreat. It's definitely a healing and transformative experience with a lot of, like the people that come are really, really special. A lot of meaningful relationships are formed from the retreats. Do you have any specific questions about it, Melanie?
Is it open to anyone, or?
So it is open to anyone. Next year I'll have one specific for nurses, given COVID situation is okay. But this one is open to people who have an interest in deepening themselves like on a personal growth level, and who are interested in wellness. So it is open to men, it's open to women. We currently have a few spots still remaining, and I can send you some information too if you, I don't know, I can type my phone number in here and my email so that I can send you a link that has some more information if you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's a really great time, and the place that we stay is super special. Hence why it's the third time hosting there. The guy he's from New York, and it's just a really special place. Like the people are so loving and kind. It's safe. It's super clean. The water's drinkable. You can, in a lot of places outside of the US, you should probably know you can't flush toilet paper a lot of places, but you can even flush your toilet paper there. You put in like all the up-to-date plumbing, there's air conditioning, but it's nice because it's like right in the jungle, but it's a mile from the beach, it's a mile from the Pacific. The food is excellent. They really like know what they're doing there as far as hosting the retreats. Thanks, Nicole. somebody here. Someone wants to start with only one exercise a day. What would you recommend? That's a good question. If you wanted to start with one exercise a day, I'd probably say squats. If you're able to do squats with a, given your knees are okay and your back and everything. And if you're not really with form, if you have problems with squats, doing the sit to stand with a chair is a good way to start with squats. I recommend not adding weight until you know that your form is in alignment and that you're doing it safely. Another exercise that's, if you were going to do one movement, planks are good. You can do a variety of movements within the plank. And my top exercises would be the push-up. I know as women, a lot of times we might shy away from push-ups, but you can do push-ups right against the wall or the countertop to start with, or from your knees, because you really do, you engage not only your upper body, you're also engaging your core, your glutes. If you are up on your toes, you're engaging your quads. So you're engaging a lot of your body. That's why the push-up is one that I really recommend. The squat, again, you're engaging the core. If you're holding weights, you're engaging the upper body and you're using that lower part of your body as well. And then plank, again, core strength, upper body strength, you're engaging the glutes. So when you think about the exercises, if you think about using multiple muscle groups in them, that is a good way to think about it. So maybe starting with, okay, I'm going to do 15 squats, 15 wall push-ups, a 15-second plank. And if you feel ambitious, maybe you do that times 3, 3 rounds. It's a good way to start. And also, like, there's videos you can find, or getting outside, walking, moving, always great to get into nature. Awesome. Well, if anybody else, I'm going to stay on for a while. I'm going to stop the recording, but if anybody has any other questions, I'll be here and you can definitely ask them of me. And thank you so much for joining in tonight. And I hope that you feel inspired to make exercise a lifestyle and really relate this to you. Relate this to what having a active lifestyle means for you personally, right? You have to really embody that, envision that, and connect it with you. It has to be more than just because I should, right? We're motivated by pleasure and we're motivated by pain. So that's why, in this presentation, we touched on 5 years from now, imagine you're still with the same excuse, as well as imagine how awesome you're going to feel to have an active lifestyle and be strong and be energized and all of those things that come along with it. So thank you so much.